The drink is gone. The bottle is not. At a German supermarket belt, a scanner sings twice. Once for the beverage, once for a second price that tastes like nothing. 25 cents land on the receipt beside plastic or aluminum. You did not order them. The law did. You leave with liquid and with a remainder the register refuses to call trash. Hours later, the liquid is finished. The remainder still exists. An empty disposable bottle retains a legally created cash value after the drink itself is gone. Most waste is a disposal problem. This waste is a tiny unpaid bill that can travel in a backpack until someone presents it to a shop obliged to honor it. That is the contradiction. The product has been destroyed by use. The price has not finished dying. Germany's bottle deposit system is the named machine behind the paradox. It is not a slogan, and it is not a folk habit. It is a mandatory deposit, a standardized marking, a retailer take-back duty, reverse vending data, and a deposit clearing process that coordinates a nationwide return market. The economic mechanism is the protagonist. The bottle is only the vehicle. The myth is larger than the statute.
The 25-cent rule applies to covered single-use beverage packaging, not to every bottle on every German shelf. Reusable packaging follows different deposit amounts and different circulation rules. Confuse the two, and the story becomes a poster. Keep the distinction, and the story becomes a market. The claim is not a gift. It is conditional money, sleeping in an object, activated only by an eligible return. That condition changes what hands do after thirst. People carry empties instead of abandoning them. Manufacturers and retailers are pulled into a return chain they cannot treat as optional decoration. Follow one German beverage container from checkout to return. Watch a price outlive a product. Watch shops pay money for objects they may never have sold. And ask the only question that matters here. How can a legal remainder, printed onto packaging, reorganize disposal, logistics, and retail incentives at national scale?
Before the receipt learned to add a second price, Germany already knew how to send glass home. Beer moved in crates. Shops accepted bottles because those same bottles would be washed and filled again. That older circuit was a circulation of objects, not a nationwide settlement of one-way claims. What most people miss is that the familiar clink of return is not one institution. It is two legal worlds sharing a kitchen. In the years around the millennium, one-way cans and disposable bottles were cheap to abandon. The drink was the product. The shell was a leftover. Streets, stations, and ditches collected the leftovers because the leftover carried no price a passerby could cash. A deposit on a refillable crate did not automatically discipline a single-use can. Different objects, different incentives. The market treated them as if they were the same trash. Then, the state attached money to a defined class of single-use beverage packaging. On 1 January 2003, a mandatory one-way deposit entered force for covered containers. The amount that would later feel eternal was €0.25, large enough to change a walk home and small enough to hide inside an everyday purchase.
The point was not to invent a new beverage levy dressed in green language. The records that govern this story describe a deposit, money collected at sale and reimbursed when an eligible empty comes back. A second date matters because the net kept widening. Germany's Environment Agency documents an expansion of the deposit obligation from 1 January 2024. Additional categories of covered single-use beverage packaging are pulled under the same mandatory €0.25 charge, the same retailer return duty, the same consumer refund, and the same nationwide clearing requirement. The headline number did not have to change for the border of the market to move. Expansion is how a mechanism grows without rewriting its price. Deutsche Pfandsystem GmbH, known as DPG, built the operating language of the one-way side. Its public process describes a legally required 25-cent deposit, a registered return process, consumer reimbursement, a reverse vending network, and deposit clearing for German single-use beverage packaging. Two independent records, the Environment Agency and the system operator, support the same factual nucleus. The historical blind spot is the refrigerator. Open one in Cologne or Leipzig, and you may see a reusable bottle beside a marked disposable. Both can carry a deposit. They are not the same contract. The reusable object is meant to survive many trips, to be counted, washed, and refilled. The single-use object is meant to be captured, compressed, and sent into material recovery. Mixing them in casual speech hides the legal distinction the architecture is built to preserve. What people miss is not that a country likes tidy sidewalks. What they miss is that residual price was manufactured, so abandonment would carry an opportunity cost. Before that price, the empty was an externality wearing a logo. After that price, the empty is a claim that can be queued, scanned, and settled. The contradiction in the checkout lane is older than any one shopping trip. It is the moment a leftover became a financial instrument small enough to fit in a fist. By the 2024 widening, the instrument had more surfaces to stick to. Newly obligated single-use packs join a market that already knew how to stamp, accept, and reconcile. The public argument is environmental. The mechanism is administrative.
A remainder that outlives consumption has to be run like infrastructure, or it decays into a rumor shops can dodge at the service counter. That administration is the world the next voices enter. Not a sermon about waste, but a designed return market whose rules decide who collects, who refunds, and who is left holding emptiness that still pretends it can be cashed.
The consumer is the smallest bank in the chain. She does not feel like a bank. She feels like a person with a rattling bag. After purchase, she holds a swarm of conditional claims, each one waiting on a later performance. Present an eligible marked container to a retailer that must take it. Her motive is ordinary. She wants coins back, or she wants the hallway clear. The system does not require her to love a statute. It requires her to answer a price. Opposite her stands the shop. The shop collected the extra line when the full container left the building. Another shop may have to pay when the empty returns. Without a reconciling institution, a kiosk beside a platform would drown in other companies' shells, and a quiet suburban market would enjoy float it never had to repay. The retailer's private motive is to sell drinks and to keep the return corner from becoming a second store. The legal motive is take-back. The Environment Agency records a retailer return duty for covered single-use beverage packaging. The duty is not a courtesy desk. It is forced membership in a return market. The filler and the brand owner enter earlier than the shopper notices. To place covered one-way packaging into this market, they must work inside the registered DPG process. The mark on the shoulder of a bottle is not decoration. It is admission to the machines and to the later settlement. A manufacturer that wants German shelf space for those products must accept the charge, the stamp, and the reconciliation. Ambition here looks like distribution. Constraint looks like a logo that cannot be improvised at the printer. DPG sits in the middle without selling cola. It operates registration, the return language, the path from acceptance to reimbursement. The settlement that keeps a refund in one city from becoming a naked loss because the sale happened in another. Its motive is systemic. If marking is unreliable, machines spit out honest empties. If settlement fails, retailers meet the duty with hostility. The institution exists because a nationwide obligation cannot be policed by goodwill at a crowded till. There are quieter characters. The reverse vending unit is a factory the size of a cupboard. It reads, decides, crushes, and prints a voucher. Its operator wants throughput without double redemption. A crushed container cannot be sold to the system twice. That bite is a life or death moment for the claim. The claim dies into cash. The shell dies into material. Decisions accumulate. A discounter plants machines near the entrance so return traffic becomes aisle traffic. A small shop calculates whether even limited acceptance will clog a counter already short of hands. A beverage company chooses a one-way line or a reusable line, knowing the two logistics will not behave as one. None of these people need to be villains. They need to be readable. Each is answering the same invented price with a private cost. The buried motive is free riding. Anyone would like the sales without the empties, the brand without the stamp, the refund without the earlier collection. The arrangement is forced reciprocity. That is why one container has to be followed through the web, where talk about clean ditches meets the arithmetic of who pays whom when an object crosses a city and a competitor's door. It is a 1.5-liter clear PET bottle, single use, bought on a Tuesday in a Berlin supermarket. The scanner adds the drink and adds the deposit. The receipt prints a line the shopper ignores until the bag under the sink grows heavy. The bottle leaves wearing a DPG marking that the human eye treats as a stamp and the later machine will treat as a passport. The shopper drinks it on a balcony. The product ends. The passport does not. Days later, the empty rides a tote toward retail. Not necessarily the same retail. Sale and return are allowed to split across competitors. That split is the first fracture line in the journey, the place where a private shop is asked to honor a public remainder it may never have collected. The bottle meets a reverse vending mouth. In the present tense, the scene is mechanical and slightly violent. The container slides in. Lights test the mark. A reader hunts for the registered DPG signature that says this object belongs to the one-way process. If the mark is absent, foreign, ruined beyond recognition, or born into the other legal family, the mouth can refuse. The value is not in the plastic as chemistry.
The value is in an eligible mark plus an eligible return. Acceptance. Rollers bite. The bottle collapses. Volume dies so a warehouse can live. A voucher prints for this unit, or for this unit plus the rest of the session. At the till, the slip becomes money or a slice off the next basket. The consumer's performance closes. The retailer's performance opens. This shop has just paid a refund it may not have taken in. Somewhere else, earlier, another shop took in a deposit it may never repay. Clearing exists for that split. Machines and manual points generate records of reimbursed containers. Those records move through the national DPG process, so the party who received the original 25 cents can be reconciled against the party who handed 25 cents back. Without that, take-back is a punishment for being convenient. With it, take-back is a role that can be settled in accounts instead of in resentment. Night comes and a contractor hauls away the compressed shells. They are no longer beverages and no longer claims. They are densified material on a pallet, heading towards sorting and recovery. The voucher was the financial death. The bailer is the physical one.
Conflict lives in the gaps between those deaths. A shop beside a festival ground eats a weekend of other neighborhoods' emptiness. Staff clear jams caused by cups that were never bottles. A tourist forces a reusable crate bottle into a one-way slot and learns, in public, that the two legal families do not share a throat. A manufacturer that chose disposable now owes the chain its stamp and its participation. A manufacturer that chose reusable owes collection, washing, refill, and a different deposit custom. The same customer word, fond, covers both. The word is a liar. When packaging is not returned, the shopper does not collect. The object may enter residual waste, a park bin, a train crossing a border, or the sack of someone who harvests other people's remainders and will later redeem them. That last path is informal labor riding a formal price, a street market that appears whenever a state prints cash onto objects and then lets those objects escape apartments. The first paths are leakage. There is no need for a legend about a hidden treasury. The wound is simpler. The remainder is real only inside the coordinated return market.
Outside that market, the empty is refuse again, and the unspent claim stays with whoever original collection and later clearing left holding the float. Barriers break in ordinary ways. The 2024 widening sends new shapes toward old readers. Software must recognize newly obligated packs. Retailers must swallow categories they did not have to swallow the year before. Fillers must register what used to sit outside the stamp. Each expansion is a small constitutional crisis for the cupboard-sized factory at the store entrance. A rejected new pack at the mouth is not a mystery. It is a coverage map colliding with a machine still learning the map. Idealism says the point is a ditch without glitter. Reality is a spreadsheet of vouchers, rejected mouths, weekend surges, and trucks of compressed PET. Profit wants high drink volume and low return theater. Risk is a lobby that becomes a second supermarket. Ambition wants a national beverage market with one set of shelves. Constraint is a duty to buy back emptiness from people who bought elsewhere. Rhythm changes at the station kiosk. Short lines, fast refusals. A clerk points at a sign. A suitcase blocks the slot. The machine blinks no.
Then a supermarket at the edge of town after closing announcements, where the last customers feed a long mouth while the lights go dim over produce. Layered across both scenes is the same arithmetic. Data must follow the shell, or the duty becomes a local tax on kindness, which it is not allowed to be and which the sources do not call it. Dominoes fall toward behavior. Because the refund is large enough to feel, bags travel instead of appearing in hedges. Because shops must accept, fillers cannot pretend the package ends at thirst. Because settlement exists, the burden can move with the bottle instead of sticking to the most honest door. Because reusable rules remain separate, the country runs two return economies under one casual noun. And then a perfectly marked bottle still misses the machine. A perfectly built clearinghouse cannot price a container that never returns. Participation is forced, disposal is nudged, and a fraction of claims still die in the wrong bin. Invented value that never finds the mouth that would have turned it back into cash.
A market can be assembled from leftovers if the leftover is given a price other people must honor. That is the principle this channel exists to watch. Germany did not win every shopper with a lecture. It issued a remainder, standardized the remainder, and conscripted shops into being the remainder's bank. The consequence is behavioral and industrial at once. People carry what they used to drop because carrying has a cash payoff. Producers and retailers enter a packaging return chain because the sale is no longer allowed to be the last transaction. After use, the object becomes a second product, a claim. The first product was thirst. The second is compliance you can hold. Look long enough, and the container is a teaching device about legally manufactured prices. Ordinary markets discover prices. This market decrees one, then spends years building rails so the decree does not decay into a suggestion. Marking is a rail. Take-back is a rail. Reverse-vending is a rail. Clearing is a rail. Remove one, and the number on the receipt becomes folklore, a figure people remember while counters invent reasons to say no. There is a colder aftertaste.
Conditional money disciplines the person who still possesses the object. It does less to the person who never intended to redeem. It hires, without posting a job, informal harvesters who walk curbs for other households' remainders. It burdens the convenient door. It privileges the machine-readable stamp over the mere fact of polymer or tin. It keeps reusable circulation in a separate moral universe, even when both families ride home in the same tote. Imagine, only as a hypothetical, a city that tried to glue a similar remainder onto another disposable shell, a cup or a delivery box, without building those rails. The poster would be easy. The administration would be the entire film. A remainder without recognition, duty, data, and settlement is ink on a tram window. In a Leipzig kitchen, a bag rustles against a radiator. Someone will walk it to a mouth tomorrow, or they will not. The beverage is already history. The claim is still a decision, as thin as plastic and as strict as a statute. How many everyday objects are waiting for a price that would make throwing them away feel like tearing up cash?